full disclosure, I have not read Ellen Hildebrand yet.
Oh, yeah?
Can you believe it?
To. Oh my gosh.
I know I'm late to the game. So here's what I did do. Here was my introduction to Ellen, was the 5-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
Not that this is about Ellen, but I'm getting to a point that's going to make sense. So I'm watching the 5-Star Weekend and I'm like, wow, this is like, it makes me want to read the book because I want to see how they made alterations. And then I'm talking to our mutual friend, Jordan, the other day, Jordan Roeder, who says, oh, I'm in Quag, which
I'm not familiar with that part of, I'm all New England and I don't understand.
Like I've literally never heard of it.
Yeah. I only have from her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I feel concerned. I had this conversation with Eric Garcia about the word literally. And now I'm like, am I using it correctly? Like, I'm not sure, but I've never heard of it. So then Jordan said, my next book is going to be it's like the Ellen Hildebrand of Quag.
Yeah. Okay.
So now I'm putting all these things together. Yeah. But of course, Ellen blurbed, is it your most recent?
She has blurbed a bunch for me.
Several.
Actually. She's been very, very, very kind to me. I owe her a lot of my readers. Yeah. So I have only watched 2 episodes of the 5-Star Weekend so far, but you have to read the book because I love that. I think that's one of my favorites. I love all of her books, but I just love that concept and the female friendship part of it.
I do too.
I just think it's fantastic. So I'm excited to see what they do with the series so far. From what I've seen, it's pretty close to the book. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's one, as I understand it, there's one significant departure, but I won't spoil what that is. But I'm gonna now it's the other reason I want to read the book because I want to see how it was handled in the book. So
absolutely,
all this to say, so I saw that Ellen had blurbed, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's because I put 2 and 2, and I was like 5-Star Weekend, blah blah. And then I see Annabelle Monaghan, and I just got this huge grin because Annabelle came on the podcast a couple years ago to talk when Nora Goes Off Script came out.
Okay. Yeah.
And she's so lovely. She's such
great.
A lovely human.
She really
And
is.
I've loved watching all of her success and her next books come out and et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, me too.
I was thinking, okay, how do I want to start this? What's the first thing that I want to ask Meg? And I think the first thing I want to ask Meg, is there something that you're passionate about talking about right now when it comes to writing and publishing books?
I love talking about we sort of already started with Ellen and Annabelle, the support of authors that authors can give to other authors. And there's sort of a lot of, book world right now is a little crazy, I feel like, a little chaotic. And I feel like there's some negative energy out there and there's people who are not being positive. And then there's people who are so warm and supportive. And it just is obviously so much better that way. And I've benefited from the warmth of people. And my goal is just to be positive in the world of publishing. So I'd love to talk about that.
Well, okay, let's do that because, you're at 9 books now, correct?
10.
10. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you've been at this for a minute, right?
I have.
And it's always interesting to me to talk to people who have been doing it for a while because they've seen the fluctuation. And both when you say there's some extra added negativity, are you seeing it on the industry side or the writers or both? I feel that my first novel came out in 2011. So that was 15 years ago. So that was a long time. In those 15 years, I just feel like there are so many more books per week I don't know the numbers on this, but there are so many books out there. So we're all sort of fighting for the same space in a way. And there's some people who are really fighting for it. And then there's some people who are welcoming in everybody else. Because in a way, there's room for everybody. But in a way, we're all fighting for the same space. So I think it's just, I think people are frantic. Sometimes I feel frantic too, but I do. I think writers are a little bit more anxious and nervous than maybe they were 10 or 15 years ago. Obviously, as time goes on and I get older, there's younger authors coming in. There's always more. There's more and more. It's like the ocean. There's always more waves coming. So there's more people. There's more people to compete with, but there's also more people to support. So I feel it's a cultural moment maybe where people have to decide which way to go. Yeah. And I too lean toward find the supportive people because it makes it, I don't
I'm not someone who enjoys being in the pool of drama, being
Yeah.
spun around the washing machine of drama. But it can you say more about the franticness that you, because I think that's something that many people assume once you're sort of in it as you are, you don't feel that same level of franticness.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know if everybody feels this. And
Sure.
I just also, it matters where you are in your work right now. And currently, I'm writing a
Yeah.
book I haven't sold yet. Often I've sold a book I haven't written yet. And that's also
Okay.
scary in its own way. But I think because I'm in the opposite position now, it's a little scary because I don't know if it's going to be wanted, but I have to keep working on it. And so I think there's sort of that fear. I just feel that fear a little bit more right now than I sometimes have in the past, because if I have a contract already, I know that no matter what, the book will
Mhm.
get into publishable shape. But I don't have a contract yet. So it's just sort of uncertain.
Okay.
So I think that's part of it too for me.
Do you think does that surprise you at all? And so, okay, here's where my question is coming from.
Hmm.
Lots of times when I talk to people, everyone has a different experience. Is how we could summarize this whole thing. Every author has a different experience. So for some people, they're selling their next, or they have a 3-book deal, or they're selling their next book on a proposal, a quick, like a summary, like a concept.
Right.
Does it feel, I don't want to say odd, like I don't want to put a weird word there, but that you have something that hasn't sold yet?
Yes, and it is intentional. I
Oh,
haven't presented it
oh, okay.
yet, but I have also done it the way you described, where I have just written a paragraph and my editor said I've had actually 4 different editors throughout my career,
Hmm.
just because of changes in the industry. I've had the same agent the whole time. So I've done it many different ways, and I have always often enjoyed having a 2-book contract, because then you know that somebody wants the next book. But my book that just came out, Down with the Shipmans, I
Yeah.
felt a little bit rushed with it. And I just felt the time pressure. And I felt like I wish I had a little more time with this. So I'm taking a little more time now, but that's no guarantee, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a little scary. It's a little scary either way. I think it's scary to have a deadline and worry that you can't produce your best work, but it's also scary not to have a deadline. So we'll see.
So with this one, the one that you're working on now, how have you not, is there a reason you haven't presented it yet? Do you enjoy the process of figuring out, like, do you get to a point where you think I'm ready to present this now? I'm clear on the concept.
Yeah, I usually present it before I'm clear, honestly.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then my poor editor has to figure it out with me. This time I'm going to figure it out ahead of time. So, and I'm working with my agent on it, so it's not like I'm just totally in a black hole with it. But I don't know what I enjoy more. And then, there's the business side of it too. So sometimes you want the security of the contract, because then the money keeps coming, because it's coming in certain times of the year. And if you don't have
Hmm.
that, you have to think about that. And are you going to get more money for the next contract? So it's that sort of business versus art, thing that every writer is always
And that's
doing.
such a bizarre, for lack of a better word, aspect, I think, of being a creative person, but specifically a writer, is that there's so many writers just want to create. So many creative people just want to create.
Right.
And then they sort of either get told or find out one way or another that there's this business side too. And you
Hmm.
don't have to become like Wolf of Wall Street, but it's extremely helpful to understand the business side of it. Is
Right.
that something that has always come easily, or is that something you have had to learn over the last 15 plus
I've
years?
had to learn it
Yeah.
for sure, because I think I was a little naive in the beginning. I thought, oh, I've published one book, I'll now publish every book I write. But that's not at all the case. There's no guarantee after that. Actually, I had a 2-book deal for the beginning. So I knew
Okay.
that I would sell I knew I was publishing 2 books. And my first novel did pretty well for a debut, and my second novel did not sell well at all. So I was
Hmm.
back to square one. And that's happened to me a couple different times with each set of, with a couple different 2-book deals, where the first one does well and the second one doesn't.
Yeah.
So I have had to learn a lot about it. And I also think the business is changing a lot. I think the amount of promotion that authors have to do on their own has changed dramatically in the last 15 years. So I'm always catching up with that. I'm getting better, but it's not it's not so natural to me. So
Yeah.
trying to figure that out. I'm just find every day I'm learning something new. Like I'll sometimes look at authors and I'll think, oh, they got this 10 city tour. That's crazy that their publisher is so behind this book. I'm surprised. And then I realized, oh, they sent themselves on that tour. Like I didn't even know I was pretty naive in the beginning. I didn't honestly understand how much authors are doing for themselves. So I sort of feel like my eyes are opening a little bit more every day. I'm still learning.
I can't remember who I was talking to, but whoever it was, she was with Harper. I think Harper Perennial, and she was talking about her 8 or 10 city tour. And I said, okay, I have a sensitive question and you don't have to answer it, and I can cut it out if I need to. But I was like, did Harper fund the tour or did you fund the tour? And she was just like, oh, I funded the tour.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, they helped me get a couple of different, bookstores. Like they helped me get those slots. They set that up or whatever, but not all of them. And I covered all my travel, all of my travel related expenses. And so I know that's something that not a lot of people realize. In your experience, everything, I should just predicate in your experience.
Yeah, that's understood.
Has that changed drastically in the last 15 years? Because 15 years ago, we didn't have Instagram, did we?
No, Instagram came after, I forgot which book of mine, but no, in the beginning it was Twitter. That's all there was. And that's what authors should be doing. And then Instagram came at some point. I forgot what year.
I mean, it's like, do you think that with the influx of all these different platforms, I'm curious how much that's maybe we'll never know. This is all assumptions here, but how much that's affected the publishing houses feeling that they don't need to do as much publicity and or their belief, which I stand by this, that publishing houses don't sell books, authors sell books.
It's so hard to say. I mean, there are certain, you can look at, any of the big bestsellers right now. You can look at Yesteryear or a book like that and see, okay, obviously they had this much. I thought the book was fantastic, but this book had
yet to read it. I can't.
Oh my gosh, you have to. I love it.
I know. I can't wait.
So a book like that, obviously they said from the beginning, this is going to be a big book and we are putting all this behind it, and that carried through and now it's going and going and going. But that's so rare. That's one in I don't even know, a bazillion. So so you can see how it happens from the publishing side, and they do still do that for some books. They obviously can't do it for every book. So then it does have to be the author selling the book. But then this is where I feel like I'm naive, where I don't always know which is which. Sometimes it's really clear. With a very big book, it's clear. And if you're, Catherine Stockett or Ann Patchett, it's clear that that's publisher. But if you are not, sometimes it is the author doing things that I almost didn't realize. I don't think I realized until weirdly recently how much authors are hustling. I really don't think I realized it. So now I'm like, oh, I guess I should hustle a little bit more. So, for me, with my experience, it has changed over the years, but also from book to book. There are certain books that I could tell there's a push behind it, and certain books where there might be a little bit less of a push behind it. So you sort of have to feel
of your own,
of my own. Yeah. So I can see, or from the publisher. So you can sort of see, okay, I can tell this isn't getting as much support as maybe this other book did. So that means I should fill in here, but I'm still learning all that. I don't always know. I don't always ask the right questions early enough. I'm getting better at that to figure all of that out.
And I'm not convinced that anybody knows what we're doing in the promo side of it. When we're posting, or are we posting enough? Are we posting too much? Should we have a news? I mean, I'm a big believer in the newsletter thing. But
I need to get a newsletter, actually. I talk to you about that. I don't have one, but I have a bunch of addresses that
Okay. Yeah. Well, and then it's like, I have other things I can talk about in my newsletter besides my books, because of all, I could talk about my podcast, et cetera. But when you are, when I say just an author, it sounds like I'm saying when you're just a mom, which I mean,
No, I know what you mean.
Right. When you don't have that other side, then the question becomes, what the heck do I talk about in this newsletter besides go buy my book? Have you reviewed my book? Can you do it again? Etc. Sometimes I just look at what other people are. That's a great way to do it, is look at what other people are doing and kind of say, oh, that sounds interesting, and I would enjoy doing that more than once.
Right. And
Or
I have
once.
I have a friend, Brooke Lee Foster. I don't know if you know her name at all. She's
Uh-uh.
an author of historical novels mostly,
Mm.
and a friend of mine. And she writes a lovely newsletter. And every time I get it, I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see what she's doing, because she talks about what she did with her friends and maybe a family trip they went on. And she's really good at that too. So
Or like a recipe.
right.
Like,
yeah.
bring me the recipes, please.
Right.
You know?
But it does feel like another chunk of work. So I have to
Yeah.
I have to figure that out. It is so hard to
Yeah.
tell, like you said, what moves the needle,
Well,
what's doing anything. It's
Yeah.
very hard. And I don't think we'll ever know. Just-
I like that approach. I don't think we'll ever know. We
Yeah.
just do what we do,
Do what
and
we can
then
do.
we go on with life and make another coffee.
Right.
From a plot perspective, when you get an idea for a book, how does that process work for you?
I'm really bad at plot. It's my weak point. So I usually have characters and a setting, and I don't really know what they're going to do. The book I'm working on now, I do have more of a plot. I don't know if it's working yet, but a lot of times my plot is more, that's what my revision is. I don't always know. Sometimes it's just these people in a house,
Really?
and I don't really know what they're doing or why they're there. And it takes me a while to figure it out. And that's where often my editor comes in, because I usually do not nail the plot the first time. I might have like I might get a little bit of it, but I've usually missed a whole bunch of stuff, and I have to go back and I rewrite a lot. My first drafts are very messy, very messy,
I am loving this.
very bad. Yeah.
So
they're terrible.
you just because all of your novels except one have been set in the same place, right?
They've all been in New England, different parts
Yeah.
of New England, but yes, all in New England. So
And then
it'll be
one was-
about something, trying to think of an example. So my novel Vacation Land, which is set in an actual house in Maine, in Midcoast, Maine, which is my best friend's family home. And I always wanted to set a book there. So I think I started with that. And then I kind of knew the people who were there, and I kind of knew a situation, but I didn't really know how to pull it all together. And it took a lot to figure out why I was even writing about them. So, yeah.
So is it fair to say, a phrase I use a lot, and it's not mine, but like you write your way into it?
For sure. I do.
Okay.
I write my way into it. I revise my way into it a lot.
Does that ever get frustrated? Do you ever get frustrated? Okay.
Yep. I get frustrated, but then I think now I just know that that's my process. So sometimes I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, I can't believe my editor is making me rewrite all this. And then I realize, well, I didn't get it right the first time. And then I realized, okay, I think I will always probably rewrite about this much, because I think this is how I do it. I think this is how I get there. And I'm a little more patient with it now, but I still don't love it. I wish the plot made sense to me in the beginning, but it doesn't.
So then do you end up having to delete a lot because then in the end it doesn't go with the plot, or does it somehow all weave together?
It depends on
Okay.
the book. I do delete a lot. I mean, I don't write overly long first drafts. I'll say that. So a lot of times it's more filling in what I'm missing. Sometimes it's deleting things that didn't work, but often it's I missed a whole point of view, or I missed a whole plot point, and I'm putting that into what's already there. But yeah, I do delete a lot too.
So then what's your favorite part about, and this can change, by the way, I'm not going to hold you to this, but what is your favorite part then about writing a book? Because let me lead a little bit. Some people will say, well, I get this idea, like, what if this happened? And then I want to flesh that out and I want to follow it through. Like, what if that happened? But when you're coming from the other side, which is sort of, I don't even know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of that whole?
It's the characters. I usually do have a very good sense of the characters, and I like to see where they're going. So I love writing characters. I really like writing dialogue. I love writing like kid characters. I love writing teenagers. So a lot of it is just seeing what these people are, what they're doing, and figuring out how they fit together. If it's a family, they fit together in an already set way, and I'm figuring out their tensions. But if it's a group, like I have a novel called The Islanders from 2019, that's these three strangers on Block Island, and I didn't even know why they were all in the book. And I remember I was working with a new editor at the time, and I remember her saying, you just have to bring this circle closer and closer together. So these people who weren't related, then, well, maybe they're neighbors, and then they have these conversations or all these things so eventually it made sense that these three people were a book. But in the beginning, they were just these three random people on an island. And I just wanted
Okay, this is extraordinarily reassuring.
Yeah, it's not, I hope I'm not alone in this, but I also feel like it's not a great way to do. It's not a great way. I'm not recommending it, but I'm also saying it's fine if you do it this way because I've done it 10 times now and it's been
I
fine.
feel myself having this thought of like, two people are in an arcade.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And now I feel like I can just be like, yeah, that's where I'm at. Two people are in
Exactly.
an arcade.
And you'll figure out why or you won't.
Or I
and
won't.
Whatever. And that's all
On the
fine.
next,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But how do you write? Are you a plot person?
Oh my God. Well, I'm on my first novel, so I've written all nonfiction until now. So I don't know what the hell I am, Meg. I don't know what I am. What I am is confused and overwhelmed and a little bit terrified.
Okay,
But
you're doing great.
Am I doing great? Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I think I'm kind of the truth about the first one this one that I'm working on now is I think I'm trying to figure out some things in my own head, like, and that's just what it is. And I think that makes it almost more difficult because I spend a lot of time self-reflecting and going, was this bad? Right. So I look forward after this. I want to write a thriller. I mentioned recently I was on a jury for a murder trial about 8 months ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not as exciting as it does sound exciting. And I'm going to make it sound very exciting, I hope, when I write it. But it was, I don't need to do that again. I don't need to do that again. However, I have recognized that I can be fully detached from this particular main character.
Right.
So she can be she's not, but she could be a sociopath and I wouldn't go, well, wait, does that mean that I might be? You know? There's a series I just started. I'm curious if you've read, it's Carly Fortune's book, Every Year After.
I've only read whatever the first one is.
Okay.
I read the first one and I never I haven't actually read the others, but people love them.
They love them.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to watch it because it's teen. It's like they're teen characters, but then I just started it because I watch everything. I think it's an unspoken goal of mine is to just watch absolutely everything that's streaming.
Yeah.
And it's really well done on screen. And it makes me want to go read the book too, because I'm reminded of it when you say you're not really sure, or no, when you said 3 people on an island and then let's bring them all together, because I feel like that's what's happening. I'm only at like episode 4 or so.
Okay.
But I feel as though that is what's happening, at least in the on-screen version of this.
Yeah.
Where
it was a long time ago I read it. I have to go back. Okay. I'll check that out though.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it's just interesting. Have you ever wanted, tried, whatever, to have anything made into a screen, on screen?
I would love to. The only one that's close, or there's no such thing as close as Tina Jordan. The only one that is currently having interest is Mansion Beach, which is my novel from last summer. So that currently has a team that I did a shopping agreement with, which is like an option, a no money option. And they are currently
That's interesting. There can be a no money option.
Yeah, there can be. And I've done that before too and gotten a little bit burned by it because then things just never happened. And I know many times things don't happen, but this team, and in fact, Jordan, who we've talked about a couple times already, I said to her, she always said to me, if you ever get, any interest or anything, tell me who, run some names by me. And so I did. And she said, oh, this person, do whatever they say. And I was like, okay, I trust Jordan. So I'll do whatever they say. So that's the only one that is currently, anywhere. I've had other things optioned and then the option expires and nothing happens. And that's just the world. So, we'll see. But yeah, for sure. I love like the 2 Ellen Hildebrand adaptations, The Perfect Couple and 5 Star Weekend.
Oh, The Perfect Couple. Yeah. I watched that one too.
Oh yeah. So watching those, I think, oh yeah, there's a market for these kinds of, my books are sort of a similar feel. There's a market for this. So we'll see. But yeah, I would be delighted.
Do you have thoughts, or have you given any thought, and do you have thoughts about like, I don't know, feelings about, oh gosh, what if they change something?
No, I think I did hear an interview with Ellen Hildebrand it must have been about when The Perfect Couple came out, because they did change a few things there. And whatever she said, I thought, yeah, that's how I would be too. I would be like, you guys know this world. I don't know. I don't know how to write a script or a screenplay. I trust the people who know what they're doing, and I'm not that person, and I've never studied screenwriting. I don't know how to do it. I don't know anything about budgets and why you decide certain things, but I trust the people who do. So I think I would be that person who just signs and says, yeah, whatever you guys want to do is fine. I wouldn't want to
just
be,
go with it.
because I know Emily Henry, I believe, is involved in her adaptations. Like, did you watch The People We Meet on Vacation? The Netflix film. I believe she was
great.
pretty heavily involved in that, and you know, because she wanted to be. But I would be Ellen, not Emily, in that situation, because I would just say, you guys know what you're doing.
Just take it and just do it. I think that's just an interesting thing to think about. A lot of fiction novelists consider, well, what if this got made into a movie? And it's just interesting to know, like, how, I hate the word precious. I really hate the word precious, but how that they would feel,
right,
if someone were to make it into something.
Speaking, we've talked about Jordan a few times, but we love Jordan. I loved hearing when you spoke with her and she talked about how she has the skills because she's done both, that she was writing a novel that didn't work as a novel, so she wrote a screenplay instead. I mean, that kind of versatility, hats off. That's amazing. I think it would be great to be able to do that, but since I can't, I wouldn't try. I mean, I would learn. If I wanted to learn, maybe I would learn, but I wouldn't assume that I knew how to do it, because it's a very different skill.
It's a very different skill. And I remember chatting with Jordan about that. And what I think I think I even asked her about this, what can be difficult. I'll speak for me. So as a writer and an editor, sometimes I don't know which hat I'm wearing. And I think that slows me down when I'm writing too, is that I'm editing, and not just grammatically, but like I'm thinking about flow and arc and all these things while I'm writing, which slows down the whole damn thing.
Right.
And so I agree, like, to have that versatility. Eric Garcia, do you know Eric Garcia?
I don't.
He is Jordan's like work husband, as she calls him. And they've known each other for like 30 years. And he's also an author. He's written, I want to say 6 or 7 novels. And he's a TV writer and a screenwriter. And most of his books have been made into, or not most, but many were made on screen. Like, he wrote them as a book, but then they were made on screen before the book came out. So it kind of went the reverse. And I thought the same thing. Like, these are 2 completely separate skill sets. Just because you can write this way does not necessarily mean that you can convert.
Right.
And, I thought, I've written 6 nonfictions. How hard can fiction be? I'm making it all up. Oh my God, it's really hard.
I know. It's so
really,
hard.
really hard.
It is hard. Yeah, I think that's I was just last night, actually, went to a talk with Lily King. Did you read Heart the Lover? Do you know Lily King's work?
I don't.
Oh my gosh. You have to read her.
I have to write that down.
Lily. Yeah. Her most recent novel is Heart the Lover. Okay. She wrote Writers and Lovers, and all of her novels are fabulous. I'm a huge fan of hers. And I went to a talk of hers last night, and she said she was stuck on something with Heart the Lover, that her husband, who's also a writer, he kept saying something about some book about screenwriting. I don't know if he's a screenwriter, but it was something about there's these 10 things to get yourself unstuck if you're writing a screenplay. I forgot. I'm getting it wrong.
Okay.
I'm sure. Anyway, he kept trying to give her advice, and she was like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to talk about it. And then one of the pieces of advice was your main character should have a secret. And then that sort of that opened up everything for her to be able to finish this novel. That's a very literary, gorgeously written, fantastic novel. You do need to read it.
Okay, will do.
But it was this piece of advice, and I thought, I'm going to get that book about screenwriting, because who knows what other kind of advice translates between the two.
And it's so interesting that you say that, because I actually bought a book years ago, and it's not called How to Write a Screenplay, but it's something like How to Write a Rom-Com or something like that. Yeah. And I really thought it was how to write like a rom-com book, which at the time is what I thought I wanted to do. It's not now. But as it turned out, the book was how to write a rom-com for the screen.
Okay.
And so it wasn't about how to write a screenplay, but it was just about like how to construct it for the screen, which is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Yet I took some stuff from it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's so I'm going to do that, actually. I'm going I'm going to do some reading.
Okay, I have two interesting questions. The first one is, do you have a favorite craft book? And I actually hate that question.
Yeah.
Because there is no best, people will say, oh, The War of Art, and I loved, there's so many. But is there one that for you, and it doesn't even have to be a craft book, actually, is there a book that you read it and then you thought, I think I understand something more about this?
I haven't read that many of them, but the two that stuck with me are Stephen King's On Writing and Bird by Anne Lamott, which I need to reread. It's been a long time.
I do too.
So I know they're classics, but I haven't actually. Sometimes I did reread the Stephen King one pretty recently, and I found it I listened to it. That's what it was. I had a long drive. And I listened to it on audio, and I had listened to it like so long ago before I'd written any books. And I found it so still helpful and still encouraging and fascinating in the same way. So I do need to reread Bird by Bird because I remember that being very, very important to me at one time in my life before I had written a novel.
And I read it so long ago. I definitely need to reread it. It's been decades for sure.
Yeah, me too.
So you did, you were in the writing world before you wrote your first novel. You were copy editing and right?
Yeah, I was copy editing. I worked for a few years for a bunch of technology magazines, which is not my area of expertise, but it was just a job I got. And so but that gave me a lot of practice with, I was an editor there. I was a writer. First I was a copy editor, then I was an editor, then I was a writer. And then I became a freelancer for those magazines and a bunch of other magazines. So that gave me a lot of great experience, but it took me a while to say, oh, fiction is what I really want to do. It took me quite a while. Yeah.
Okay. And I loved in your bio when it said you've been a writer ever since you learned to differentiate between the cursive F and the cursive T. I was like, yes, that is so great.
I still can't write. Now I can't write cursive anymore though, because I never write in cursive. So I've forgotten how completely.
I can't write it because a couple of my kids can't read it.
I know. My kids can't read there. If my parents write them a letter, they're like, what is this? Can you translate this? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. 3 of my kids went to Montessori for just like preschool and first grade. And so they learned to read and write cursive there. So when my parents write my kids letters or, cards or whatever, they can read it. But then my other 2 never went to Montessori. So they're like, can you translate this? Like it's, they cannot read it.
Right. Like, I've also noticed lately that I've gotten just like notes from kids. I've just seen kids' handwriting lately. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are they not even learning printing? Handwriting is really bad in kids of younger age. My kids can write. I'm sure your kids can write. But younger kids, I feel like they're not even learning how to write how to print. So it's crazy. I need to ask a teacher about that. Like, are they not even trying anymore? I don't know.
Are they not even trying? Well, it's because like now they send texts that say, IDK, LOL, RN. Right. Exactly. I have to translate texts.
Yeah. Yep.
It's really quite rough.
Yep.
To be honest. Okay. Slightly sensitive, not sensitive, but I don't know what question. Because you mentioned Lily King. And she's obviously written many books and you are in love with her. And when you go to events like hers, for example, do you ever feel uncomfortable that you've written 10 books and somebody might not know who you are? Or perhaps, for example, you mentioned Lily King and I'm like, I feel bad. Like, I feel like I should know who Lily King is based on how much you appreciate her work. I feel like I should have seen it somewhere. I should have heard about her somewhere. And I'm thrilled to now know of her and now be able to go explore her.
Right.
But I used to feel very uncomfortable on this show when people would say, have you heard of Lily King, for example? And I'd be like, oh yeah. Because I feel like I should have.
Right.
But
there's so many writers. So I don't even think about it. There are so many writers. It was funny at the Lily King event. 2 people recognized me. I was just not an audience member. And I was there with my daughter and she was like, oh my gosh. So that was really funny. But I also never, ever expect that. I'm always surprised when someone's reading my book. I mean, by this time I've sold a bunch of books because I've written 10 and I've sold a lot of books. but I'm always surprised when anyone knows who I am every single time. So I'm never offended. I'm always surprised. And then when people mention writers to me, a lot of times I haven't heard of them. There's too many. You can't keep up.
There's too many. And I didn't even mean, just to be clear, in terms of being offended. It was just sort of like what you had said earlier about just the sort of the anxiety that comes with it. And I just wonder if some authors, I mean, this is just a rhetorical question, but they've written, say, 20 books and they go to an event and it's an author's first book and they say, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so. And they just have this inner hope that the person opposite them is going to go, oh my gosh, are you? And they don't. And then they feel invisible.
Yeah, I think there's also so many genres, and people read often within the genre that they're comfortable with. Like, I don't know, and I don't read fantasy. I don't know any fantasy writers except like the big names. I just don't, and I never will. It's not my thing. I don't read science fiction. I just don't know those writers, and I'm sure they don't read beach reads. You know, I mean, not sure, but many of them maybe don't read beach reads. So I think a lot of it's that too. It's what world you're in. So if I go to a book about, an event about summer reading, I would hope that people have read maybe one of my books. I know there's no guarantee, but I would expect maybe that I'm a little familiar to that audience. But if I was at some science fiction convention or mystery thing, I mean, people
that makes a lot of sense.
Probably haven't read my books, and that's fine.
That makes a lot of sense because readers do tend to be, and I'm not trying to make a sweeping statement here, but sort of genre devoted.
Right.
At least in that moment. So I was years on nonfiction. Like I was reading nonfiction. I just could not get into fiction for a period of time for whatever reason. And then I switched and now I'm pure fiction. And I'm very, fiction is such a humongous category. Yeah. And like you, like fantasy, I just not real sci-fi. Although I did read an interesting, I don't know if it would be considered sci-fi, but it's The Warehouse. I can't remember right now who it's by. I'll put it in the episode notes because it's kind of, maybe it's not sci-fi. Maybe it's like, what's that? Definitely not magical realism, but that kind of like things that could happen in the future.
Okay.
So it's kind of like
dystopian?
Dystopian. Oh. Thank you so much for that word. So it's kind of like The Warehouse to me. I haven't asked him. I don't know, but it's kind of makes me think it's like the Amazon warehouse.
Oh, interesting.
That's what it's kind of based on, but it's the Amazon warehouse on steroids.
Okay.
So fast forward, I don't know, 3 months, and it's what it would be like, So that I really enjoyed because it was really fast paced and it was great, but I'm not a big, there's just certain genres that in the moment, I'm not into it.
Right. And I might be missing out. I probably am missing out.
Absolutely.
But there's also only so much time. And there's so many books I know I want to read because I already know that I love the author or I've heard about it or someone I trust has told me to read it. You just can't get to everything. So
you just can't get to everything.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's definitely not easy. And, okay. So my last question is, do you have a favorite word?
Oh, I heard you ask that to somebody. And I thought I better think about this, but I forgot to think about it. Shoot. When I used to, I feel like in high school when that was a question that people asked, I really loved the word incandescent. So I'm just going to go with that because I still love it. Yeah. But I remember thinking, I'm going to think of a new word and I forgot to do it.
I know. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to switch it up soon because people are preparing themselves.
Right. Well, I forgot to.
So it's okay. Incandescent. That's good.
Right. Thank you.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I like it.
I don't even, do you use it a lot?
No, I sure don't.
You just like the way it sounds.
Popped into my head as though I remember liking this word in high school. So I guess I probably still like this word. That's all.
Yeah.
No.
It is a good word.
Yeah. And we forgot to talk about stumble. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Thank you for reminding me.
I loved your conversation with Liz Astroff.
Liz.
That was really interesting.
I am just... Are you as devastated as I am? I'm devastated.
I am. And I'm not as devastated as my friend who was the first AD on the show because she would love for it to come back. But
oh my God.
It's fantastic. And I don't understand it. It makes me so crazy because there's a bunch of things that do get renewed. And
it so just needed one more season.
Yeah.
I'm certain.
Yeah. Or 2 more episodes. Even by
anything.
those last episodes, it was so, I mean, it was great from the beginning. I loved all of it. But by the end, you really got, it just had so much heart. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When I firmly was entrenched in my love for Stumble was when Kristen Chenoweth came on screen. And if people are listening to this, and she was like, you could only see her from the nose up because she's shorter, as am I. And that at that moment, I thought, I'm done. I'm done. I'm hooked. We're in.
So I know. Yeah. It was so funny, but also so heartfelt and so
good.
And yeah, it's fantastic.
And you just want to know what happened.
I know. I
wonder do you think I guess I should have asked Liz this. At the time, she didn't know that it wasn't going to be renewed when I had her on.
Because I listened to it fairly recently and I was like, I know the end of the story.
I know. That makes it even harder to listen to.
Yeah.
Yes. It does. I wonder if shows don't get renewed and then there's a reason that they then get renewed.
I don't know. And I don't know anything about that side of the business.
I don't either.
I don't know if there's someone else would pick it up. I don't know.
I didn't think about that.
Don't know. We'll have to ask Jordan. Jordan knows.
Yes, we will. Like another network, another streaming service.
I mean, that would be wonderful because it's so good and it's all right there.
It really goes to show that don't judge, cliche here, don't judge a book by its cover. Because when I had heard of it, and I thought it was just like a cheerleading show. Right. So I just was like, And then when I was talking to Jordan, and Jordan's like, you got to watch this. And I thought, well, okay, if you recommend it.
Yeah.
And again, from that scene with Kristen, I was done.
I know. Like, and when you compare it with something like Parks and Rec, that it's just a certain world that you're exploring, and it's the world, then it's just brilliant. It's just as Parks and all those shows.
Well, Parks and Rec took several seasons to really get going too.
I just feel like they had the patience back then that they don't have now.
They don't have it now.
Frustrating. And I feel that way. You know what? This all comes full circle. Kind of feel that way with publishing. I feel like there used to be time for authors to grow. And now it's like, so let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Like maybe give a book a big advance. And if that doesn't do well, then that author's done. So you almost don't want that big first advance because you have to keep up. And it's not as much. This isn't the case for everybody, but it's not as much about growing a career of an author, just as it's not as much about giving a show time to come into itself. And that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's just kind of about this present moment in time and what can we eke from this?
How many what can we sell? Yeah. Which is a precarious position for authors because you might get a really big first advance and then you might not live up to it. And then you're kind of stuck versus a slow growth. So
which
crazy
is
out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I am so glad. I'm so glad to meet you and to have had this conversation and for you to share yourself. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.